Hi there, thank you so much for registering for access to our NAPLAN style pre and post tests across literacy and numeracy ahead of the NAPLAN 2018 tests. Now, I thought it might be easier if I just walked you through very briefly how the platform can really serve as a fantastic resource to identify those areas where students may be weaker and help you remediate those areas ahead of a test. So I've logged into the control panel here, which is home base for you as a teacher. You can have a look at it from the student's perspective as well by going to the student zone on the far right hand side. But for the purposes of this example, we won't go over there right now. What we will do is click on the content library in the top left hand corner. Now I've pinned English and Literature and Maths to the top here, and you'll see under the relevant folders here the NAPLAN literacy or numeracy material. So first things first, I've clicked on NAPLAN literacy, and you'll see here there's a range of spelling lists across audio lists, and then also identifying and correcting errors. And if you click on the particular folder type, you're then able to go through and preview the smart lesson. In the far right hand side, in the top right hand corner, you'll see a rating from students as well. So I can see that 7,883 students have rated this lesson a 3.9 star, and it's taken a student on average 7 minutes to complete the simple spelling list here. And again, just click on preview smart lesson and it will take you through the test itself. So that's the first piece here. Now, in terms of the pre and post tests, if we go and click on the middle folder here, I'll use 7 as an example, and then click on, say, language conventions, you'll see there's a pre-test here for year 7, and then a post-test here for year 7. These are automatically marked as well. Now, to show you how these work, if you click on preview exam, it'll walk through the different areas. Now, you can modify these tests if you wish. With these here, students obviously need to correct the spelling here, and then click on submit. Now, this is just a preview of the content. It's automatically marked, and in just a moment I'll show you through, from a teacher's perspective, how you can really utilize this tool, both to collect and aggregate that data, but then to also automatically provide you with the option of setting remedial lessons to help the students with different areas. So you can preview the lessons through here. We'll click on exit, and you can also see through, have a look through the writing tests here, again pre and post tests for each level, and then through here folder 3 actually links through the remedial tasks from the test. So once you've set a test for students, the program will automatically work out students' strengths and weaknesses. It'll display those to you in a well-designed graph with all of the appropriate data. But then from this point here, we link students through to relevant lessons that will help raise their competence in specific areas where they may be struggling. And these are all the lessons that they're linked back to. So you can go through there and have a bit more of a detailed look. Again, you can have a look at the amount of time it's going to take an average student to complete those, as well as the star rating from students here as well. And these are the standard lessons that you would be using on Education Perfect. So these are the scaffolded smart lessons that will walk students through at their own pace, in their own time, providing real-time feedback on their answers. And you can look at those by clicking answer in the top right-hand corner. We've also got a long answer piece here as well, which means students can also annotate the answer, which is a great new tool that's just been pushed live. So that's the literacy component. Now, in terms of the numeracy component, it's a similar setup in some respects. So we've got all of our resources here. Again, these are all the lessons, as similar to what I was just showing you for the literacy content. We've also got our pre and post tests, which are able to set students across year 5, 7, and 9, and there's the calculator and non-calculator tests here as well. I'll actually just jump into the NAPLAN practice material. This has been really well used. So what we've also developed here is just some really basic, I guess, rote-based question areas. So what you can do is actually just give these to students. These are all NAPLAN style questions, and they can just work through these. This is more just a volume piece here where they're able to go through, answer lots of questions around these different areas. If they get the answer wrong, they get given immediate feedback on what the correct answer is. And it's just really good for students to get familiar with the types of questions that are going to be asked. So there's lots and lots here that should be really, really useful. So you can take a deep dive into the Year 7 and Year 9 data. Year 7 and Year 9 lessons, which you'll find all listed here. So jumping out here, in terms of how you'd actually use this content, if I click on the assessments area here, and as a basic example of how you can assign this, you simply click on Set Assessment. You can either choose a quick test, which utilises questions from all of the curriculum aligned material that you'll see on the program. But for the purposes of this demonstration, what we want to do is use one of the pre-built assessments. So I'll click on select here. You can choose who, so you can choose your class. There's lots of different classes here. So I'll use Mathematics 1, for example, and then assign to specific students. So you can always differentiate from Word Go and identify specific students you'd like to set the test for. Choose what. This is where you'd go into the actual test area that we looked at earlier. So we'll go and set some literacy-based activities. I'll use Year 9, and I'll use some reading material. So I'll set a pre-test for reading, and I'll click on Select Exam. So I've selected that here. Now, when is the period of time that the assessment will be available for? So we could start it today, and it could finish tomorrow. But you can obviously set this to the most appropriate time that you'd like students to do this for. You're able to allow a certain amount of time for students to complete the test. Again, this is you can modify this if you would like. There's also a feature here where you can pause the timer should a student need to leave the assessment for some reason. Also, there's a no time limit function here as well. So if you're wanting to not replicate how the exam is actually going to work and more use this as a revision opportunity, that's totally fine. In terms of allowing multiple attempts, this is another great tool that a lot of teachers have been using, where they'll actually say to students, well, rather than just give you one attempt, I'll give you, say, 3 attempts, and then we'll take your last attempt as your final score, which is a great way to see their learning progression over a number of attempts. There's also the ability to have students enter an access code, and this will essentially mean you can replicate a standard exam conditions where you're able to invigilate a students whilst they're online here. And this just means that students need to be in full screen when they're doing the test, and if they were to go out of screen, it gives you, lets you know immediately, and also their screen will go red and it'll say to the student immediately, you're off task, please get back on task straight away. So there's some great tools here. Now the final piece was really around the targeted remediation. The results, I'll just jump back actually one more. If you did want to withhold results, you can always check this box here, but by default, the test is automatically marked by the system, which obviously saves you a lot of time. But in terms of the targeted remediation area, this is a fantastic tool in the lead up to NAPLAN. So what you can do is set a test, and then once students have completed the test, automatically it will give them a remedial program of work which is targeting their specific areas. So what we've seen a lot of teachers do is say, all right, well, once they finish the test, I want them to do, say, half an hour's work over the next 4 weeks. So half an hour each week. So we'll give them a couple of hours of work to complete, and obviously set the appropriate time frame that you'd like them to complete that for. And then once they've finished the revision work, you'll be emailed with their results on that as well. But it's a fantastic way to really ensure students are going down the pathway that's going to be most beneficial for them in the lead up to the exam. The optional settings here, you can also email students by default that they've been assigned this test, and then also email a completion summary to yourself, and then set assessment. So it's a very simple process. Now, I've included some guides in the email here, but just to give you an example of what a sample report would look like, I'll just show you here how the data will appear. So you'll see a bar graph here that will show you students' results. In a table, it'll show you the average mark and then the number of students that have completed the test. If you go down here, you can also look at the extended results, so I can have a look at each particular skill area that students have been tested on. It's a great way to take a bit of a deep dive into the data and automatically or quickly identify where students might be having difficulties. Under analysis and recommendations here, we can also see for each skill area where students are struggling, and it will tell you which students we've recommended do which lessons. And again, this comes back to the differentiated remedial work that you're able to then assign students. So based on what I just showed you there, they'll automatically have the setup, so students will automatically be assigned these recommendations. If you had chosen to unselect that, then you can manually go through here yourself and choose how long you'd like the lessons, when you'd like the lessons to fall due, how much work you'd like to set them, so you might set them, say, 10 hours. You can also remove students, and you can also remove tasks as well if perhaps it's something you'd like to cover in class. But it's a fantastic tool to be able to really achieve that differentiated approach in the lead up to the NAPLAN tests and beyond NAPLAN as well. Now look, the final piece here is, if I just go back here and I'll click on the sample report one more time, I'll go into a diagnostic test. So that was a pre-test that we'd set. If you did want to set in a post-test, what you're able to do once students have completed that is click on Compare Results, and you'll be able to click on Diagnostic Test 1B, and you'll actually be able to compare results between A and B. And this is all done automatically. So it'll show you obviously what they achieved in Test 1 and Test 2. Wherever you see a bar graph like this is showing you that it's a statistically significant result. So we run a p-value test that identifies essentially their improvement and whether that was statistically significant. We'll also show you the distribution of grades here, which is a really handy visual. And then we break down students' increase in results. So I can see Pierce here has done particularly well, improved 47%, which is fantastic. And then an analysis on the particular skill areas where they've improved significantly. And you can see on tenses here, they've gone from 43% to 86%. All of this data is exportable as an Excel file, and obviously very easy to use as well. So look, I've given you a very, very quick overview on how that works and how it can be used. So if you have any questions on what we've shown you, please don't hesitate to sing out. And we've got a fantastic team that are very willing to walk you through this in detail and ensure that it's all set up for you and your students. Thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing how it all goes. Bye for now.